Hi dear readers, I just released the Sun Behind the Sun ebook, and in this video I'm going to describe what this ebook is about, just in case you prefer watching to reading. So the Sun Behind the Sun is an ebook for those who have already tasted the fruits of awakening but aren't yet sure where exactly spiritually they are. So it's for those who are already awakened, because if you are not yet there and if you read this ebook, you will understand some things, but you will definitely not understand others. And it's for those interested in deepening their understanding about the mystic union of the earthly soul with its divine companion, which is the higher self, Kundalini activation, deep meditation, Sungazing, eternal sun, and other deeper spiritual subjects. And here are some subjects covered in this work, and I'm also going to include in this video a table of contents for you to see exactly what this ebook is about. But in summary, here are some topics that the ebook covers. For example, it has information about how archons operate in human affairs, how to know your level of spiritual growth, how to recognize whether your spiritual growth is genuine or it's a new age elusive growth, because most people are stuck in new age growth and they grow the ego and they are not actually breaking through. It's the ego that fools them into thinking that they are, and they think that spiritual development is very pleasant, but the truth is that you have to break the ego all the time if you really want to spiritually grow. So basically in this ebook I explain what is the new age illusory growth, which doesn't lead anywhere, it just inflates ego, and what is the real growth, which is difficult. Also, I talk about Kundalini a lot, so this ebook is like an in-depth guide to the Kundalini awakening, as well as information about the higher self and the mystic union of the higher self, the divine self with the earthly self, which is the soul. Western way to achieve the union with the higher self, which is much safer than the Eastern yoga, and it's very unlikely that you will find information about this. It's difficult. It's available in some occult books, but it's going to be really difficult to find. So this ebook has information about the Western way of merging with the higher self, and it's definitely safer than the yoga way of Indians, because it was done in different times when it wasn't the environment wasn't polluted, so body manipulation to achieve this union was acceptable if you really prepare for it. But in these times, Western way to achieve this union is much safer, but it's going to take longer though. So I have information about this, as well as about esoteric meaning of Jesus crucifixion. You will find some pictures and information about this, and it's going to clarify to you what the exoteric representations of Jesus crucifixion really means. I have information about esoteric Christian, Hindu, Buddhist teachings explained in a simple way, so that these teachings people can digest, can really understand these teachings and apply them. How Christianity borrowed most of its tenets from pagan religions, and I reveal some of the things that you are not likely to find online. So once you understand where some of the things of Christianity come from, it's unlikely that you will see Christianity in the same way again. I also have information about how and why planets rule us and what to do about it, as well as information about some ancient faiths, some ancient religions, and what they thought about planets. And they thought that planets aren't good, and that they actually sort of like imprison people. And also I talk about what pagan deities really represent and how this empowers those who know it, because now there is and negative, I would say, habit of some pagan nations bowing to statues of pagan deities, but this actually is a degeneration of something very powerful. So I explain what pagan deities really represent. I also talk about how the month in which a child is born determines his or her inclinations, and I list each month with the qualities as well as quote the information where I got this information. It's not coming from my head. I told before that I read many quite hard to come across occult books, and my information comes either from such esoteric works, ancient occult works, or personal experience, but it's not to do with my personal opinions. It's based on either research or my personal experience or the experiences of other people. I also talk about celibacy, magic, and advice on semen preservation in relationships, which is important because some people cannot be celibates and they need to find a way of how to, if you know about the Christ consciousness, Christ seed, how to preserve the Christ seed, it's important to be celibate, but there is a way to retain some of that sexual energy within through some methods. So I explained them. It's better to be totally celibate, but for those who cannot do this, there is a method to preserve that energy. And the good thing is that if you use that method, it might take you to the next level of being total celibate. So I explained that method. I also talk about what the Holy Spirit is based on my research and personal experience. I also included the in-depth Sungazing guide, but it's not like that I have in one place an in-depth guide. It's sprinkled all over the ebook. That's just my style of writing, but the information that I provide, I think that you cannot find this information online because it's the most in-depth guide, but you have to really fish for it. But if you read the book from the beginning till then you will understand everything about how to sun gaze, especially for the beginners, how to do it safely, and what developments you're likely to expect at different time limits of sun gazing. So what to expect when you sun gaze for 15 minutes and what to expect when you start sun gazing for 20, 25, 30 minutes and so forth. So these are all the topics that I want to mention, but the topics are so many, and I'm going to now include in this video the rest of the contents for you to, if you want to quickly have a look through them and decide whether you want to get this ebook. And the ebook has been released and it is on donation basis, so there is a suggested donation, and I really would appreciate if you could donate the suggested amount, because this ebook is of around 250 pages long. I put a lot of work into it, so it's definitely going to be worth this donation. And also, as you might already know from the previous video, I purchased land, and it has a tiny house, but it needs I have to redo everything, and so I spend all my savings. And if you like my work and if you would like to support, this is really the good time to do it. So I would really appreciate if you could donate the suggested amount. But if, for example, you are struggling financially, then you can donate lesser amount, and there is also a minimum amount of donation that applies. And what else should I say? The ebook, when you order it, is going to be delivered as a link to your PayPal registered email address. So make sure that you check the PayPal registered email account, and once you click through, I suggest you to download the ebook to your device, which can read PDF, because this ebook comes in a PDF format. Because if there is a limited amount of downloads, so you have 10 downloads in which 10 download attempts in which to download the ebook. So it's best when you get the email to save the book to your device rather than keep clicking on that email with a link in it. So I think that's all I wanted to tell you about this book. I hope that you will enjoy reading it. If you are a true spiritual seeker, I do believe that it will help you. It will shed light on certain things that you might have not been aware of. It might help to connect some of the dots, and of course it will help you to understand where you are spiritually, so that you know what's next and how to get to that next stage of spirituality. So that's all that I wanted to tell you about the book. I hope you will enjoy reading it, and thank you for watching. Take care.